Pontiac Trans Am. You remember, you saw him run the 5:19 in qualifying. Well, he has not come close to that since, and he hurt the engine in the first round race. He'll be ready for round number 2 of funny car action coming up later. Right now, it is Top Fuel Eliminator and Gary Ormsby, the man that won the Winter Nationals just a month and a half ago, racing the surprising Laurie Johns and the Jolly Rancher Candy Special out of Corpus Christi, Texas. This Top Fuel car, the latest in a series of rides for the young lady. She started her career in sportsman competition, working up to the Top Fuel ranks. While the 5.0s may have become commonplace here, they have not for Gary Ormsby, the Winter Nationals champion. The best he's been able to run, a 5:11. Laurie Johns qualified in the number 17 spot. She was placed in the program when Robert Reel was unable to return for the second weekend of competition. The race delayed 1 week because of the unseasonably cold weather that struck the Houston area on the original weekend. Ormsby in the far lane. Laurie Johns in the near lane. Ormsby with a huge advantage at the start. And he outran Laurie Johns down the quarter mile of 5:11. Very consistent. That was the same time he turned in round number 1 when he defeated Richard Holcomb. Laurie Johns had a 5:13 on this run, but the victory went to Gary Ormsby with his sharp driving skills right at the start. He had nearly a car-length lead at the halfway mark, and as they neared the finish line, he extended that even further.
We all know it's against NHRA rules to have a computer-driven or computer-controlled automobile, but the consistency of Gary Ormsby, well, it's computer-like, Gary. A great job of 5:11.
Thank you. Actually, I think everybody just kind of went down. We're running what we run all through qualifying, so, but that's exactly right. We ran a 5:11 last time. We was hoping it'd run a little better this time.
And just as, like Pomona, a tremendous hole shot, another great reaction time. This car, it moves when you tell it to.
It sure does, Steve. When you step on the throttle, it reacts.
And some cars do not.
No, they don't. I had one of those.
And got rid of it quick.
Gary Ormsby verifying what a lot of racers feel, that their cars have personalities just like people. Out on the racetrack, the final pair of round number 2 Top Fuel competition. This is Connie Coletta. He is the speed record holder in NHRA competition at over 291 miles an hour. He hails from Ypsilanti, Michigan. His competition is the operator of the drag racing school in Gainesville, Florida, Frank Hawley, 2-time Winston champion at the wheel of the Chi-Town Hustler funny car. Now he is comfortably seated in the cockpit of Larry Minor's Miller Highlight Special. Coletta in the far lane. And Coletta instantly goes up in smoke when the 3 flashes green. Hawley crosses the finish line with a subpar 5:38, indicating engine problems on that race car. What a break, though, for Hawley. As the Coletta Flying Services car lost traction at the start, he was no competition. That sets up the semifinal race between Joe Amato and Frank Hawley. Amato, with a quicker elapsed time, has the lane choice. Frank Cook races Gary Ormsby. Cook having his choice of lanes in the semifinals. I would suspect that the crew for Frank Hawley's race car has got lots of work ahead of them to get that car ready.
With the kind of luck Frank Hawley is enjoying, Dave, I don't think I want to get into any kind of gambling game with him. In the 5:30s, another big break.
You know, there's one thing that's kind of good today, and that's that Larry's not here to see all the stuff that we're tearing up.
Car owner Larry Minor.
Yeah, let it be known that I'm well aware of the fact that this thing was hurt long before I ever lifted off the throttle, but some days it's your day, and I saw Conrad obviously smoke the tires or had some kind of problem like he did against us at Pomona. But the only thing I'm afraid of is we want to win the World Championship this year, and I don't want to use up every bit of luck I've got in one weekend.
Well, Steve, we'll see if that luck holds up for Frank Hawley. Now on the starting line, it is time for the first race of round number 2 competition in Funny Car Eliminator. Here is the 4-time Winston champion, the Budweiser King, Kenny Bernstein. Against Bernstein in this second round race is the surprising Art Hendy. The team of Hendy and Worsham from San Bernardino, California, got by the first round when they defeated Chris Lane. That's the Sutherland family's entry. And Hendy, now in round number 2, has got to race the toughest of them all. Only the second man in the history of the sport to win 4 consecutive Winston titles. Don Prudhomme did it first back in the mid-70s, and now Kenny Bernstein has been the driver of the 80s. Kenny gives a great deal of credit to that man, his crew chief Dale Armstrong. Bernstein qualified with a 5.30 second elapsed time, good for number 4. Art Hendy had a 5.37 second time. That was good for the number 8 spot. Hendy, like so many other racers, Joe Amato and Darrell Gwynn included, had a successful career in alcohol competition before making the switch to the professional category. Bernstein in the near lane. Both cars have problems. They slow, and Hendy recovers. Hendy pulls ahead and pulls off the upset. It is Art Hendy with a very slow but winning 6.78 second elapsed time as Bernstein apparently falls victim to mechanical problems. We'll be right back with more funny car action at the Fram here at Houston Raceway Park near Baytown, Texas, and the Fram Supernationals as the crew for Frank Cook, Top Fuel dragster, gets that car ready to race against Gary Ormsby. That Top Fuel action will be coming up in just a few minutes. Right now on the track, it is the continuation of round 2 of funny car racing. Ed McCullogh against Mark Oswald. A new national record has already been established in qualifying by Mark Oswald at the wheel of the Candies in Hughes' car. He set the elapsed time record and backed it up within the required 1% at 5.29 seconds elapsed time. McCullogh qualified in the number 7 spot at a 5.34 second time for his Miller High Life Oldsmobile. You may ask with good reason why Don Prudhomme with a 5.19 second elapsed time in the number 1 qualifying spot does not hold the new national record. The reason? He has yet to back it up within the required 1% at the same event. Oswald pulls ahead of McCullogh at the start. A close race at the finish line. Oswald 5.33 seconds elapsed time, a losing 5.40. Both racers over 270 miles an hour. As we watch again in slow motion, you can see both drivers leave the starting line with almost identical reaction time. Oswald in the Ford Probe in the near lane pulled ahead by nearly a half a car length at the middle of the course. McCullogh fell back a few feet further, and by a car length, Oswald won the race.
Mark Oswald, a hard-fought victory, goes now to the semifinals in the 530s.
Thank you, Steve. We were a little worried out there. I got towards the center line about 300 feet out and was spinning the tires, and I got it back over in the center and fortunately hung on to the win.
Did you just steer it, or did you have to get off the pedal at the same time?
No, I just steered it over. I just stayed on it and steered it over.
While the racetrack may only be a quarter of a mile long, a lot of action could take place for the driver at the wheel of one of these 4,000 horsepower funny cars. This is Bruce Larson, the man that upset Kenny Bernstein in the final round of the recent Winter Nationals, the season opening event. Larson qualified here at the Super Nationals in the number 5 spot with a 5.30 to race here in round 2 against the quickest of them all, Don Prudhomme, who's had a 5.19 but has yet to get close to it in subsequent runs. Under the watchful eye of starter Buster Couch, Don Prudhomme pulls the Skoll Bandit Pontiac into the staging beam. Bruce Larson has the choice of lane, and it may have paid off as Prudhomme goes up in smoke. Larson through the quarter mile, the quickest time of eliminations, and a new national record for Bruce Larson, 5.27 seconds. His earlier time serve as the 1% backup for Bruce Larson, the new national record holder for elapsed time. Our next pair, the engines fired and running, are pulling into the water area where they start the burnout procedure. Scott Coletta, the second half of the Coletta Flying Services team. You saw his dad earlier, Connie, who drives the Top Fuel dragster. Here's Tom Hoover at the wheel of the Champion Auto Store's Pontiac Trans Am. It was just one round of racing ago that Hoover pulled off the big upset of that round when he defeated John Force. At the far end, Steve is with Bruce Larson.
May I introduce to you the new NHRA national record holder for elapsed time.
Wow.
5:27.
Oh, that's great. Thanks a lot for being the guy to tell me.
You betcha. My pleasure. You already had the backup run from qualifying. 200 bonus Winston points. Wow.
Oh, it feels good. We've been having some problems with burning pistons at the end of the runs, and I finally decided to just run it the whole way through.
So many people looking at the racetrack and the tires have been conservative. Not your truth.
No, we knew where we were from that time run we got yesterday. Here come my guys. They get a lot of the credit.
The quickest crew in all of drag racing.
After more than 20 years in this sport, it's an incredible start of the new season.